You're listening to How to Drink Less, and I'm your host, Adriana Cloud. Whether your goal is to cut back, take a break, or say goodbye to alcohol for good, this podcast will help you stop drinking on autopilot, learn how to manage cravings, and feel fully in control around alcohol. It's easier than you think. Listen on to find out how. Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode. I'm your host Adriana, your resident sobriety coach and hypnotist, your guide holding your hand as you navigate the path to sobriety or moderation or mindful drinking or whatever your particular goal is with regards to your relationship with alcohol. And today, I want to talk to you about motivation because it's one of those concepts that is actually very often misunderstood and it ends up keeping people stuck. So let's dive in. First of all, what even is motivation? In the simplest terms, motivation is the reason we do something. It's the reason we do anything. For example, you might stay late in the office because you think that might help you to get promoted if you're seen to be working hard. Or you might help your elderly neighbor with her gardening because she reminds you of your grandmother. So far, so good, right? But sometimes people use motivation as a synonym for excitement or enthusiasm. And they think motivated means something like inspired or excited or enthusiastic or something along those lines. And this is where we run into trouble. How this plays out in real life is that people think feeling motivated means feeling excited. Let's say you've decided to do dry January, and the first couple of days, maybe you were riding the high of trying something new. And novelty in itself feels good, so you probably thought of yourself as highly motivated. That's what we expect motivation to feel like, that initial excitement and positive anticipation. But as the days are rolling on and the novelty is wearing off, maybe you're starting to feel not quite so enthusiastic about the whole experiment. Instead of the lightness and excitement that you felt early on, you're maybe now feeling a bit of heaviness and doubt. And so you're thinking, my motivation is waning. You might even think that something has gone wrong. And worse than that, you might think that something is wrong with you because you were expecting that once you've made a decision, you will remain super excited about it forever after. And this is where it helps to reframe how you think of motivation. Remember, motivation is just the reason you're doing something. And the reason you do something doesn't always have to be excitement. Sometimes we do things out of determination or because we made a commitment, and that's what I invite you to reconnect to on the days when you're feeling less than enthusiastic. Remember why you want the change. Remember the outcome you're working towards and the person you want to become. Here's one misconception about motivation. People think that motivation should feel good, but that's not actually the case. You are very motivated to do lots of things in your life without actually feeling great about them. For example, you're motivated to go to work every day because you want to get paid. But does going to work feel good every day? Even if you really, really love your job, I'm going to venture a guess that there are days when going to work doesn't actually feel all that good. You're also motivated to pay your bills, take out the garbage on a particular night of the week, even if it's pouring rain, walk the dog even when you have a terrible cold and you'd rather lie on the sofa under a blanket. You know what I mean? You do things that don't feel great all the time. You book a dentist appointment because you want clean and healthy teeth. You get up in the middle of the night to check in on your sick child, even though you're exhausted. You have a difficult conversation with your partner because you don't want a small misunderstanding to grow into long-term resentment. And I bet you don't even stop to question your level of motivation, do you? You just do these things because you want the outcome that these actions will create, or because you want to avoid the consequences that would unfold if you don't take these actions. Another misconception about motivation is that if you're motivated enough, then whatever you're trying to do will feel easy. And if it doesn't feel immediately easy, or if it feels easy for a couple of days, but then it gets harder, you'll start to think that something is wrong with your motivation. But motivation and ease are not related. There are any number of easy things that I'm not motivated to do, and there are some quite challenging things that I actually am very motivated to do, like exercising regularly or setting boundaries with certain people. We are sold a lie by the wellness industry that the goal of life is to feel good at all times. And what's more, we're sold the lie that if we just do the right things and follow the correct routines and take the correct supplements, then we will feel good all the time. But that's not what real life is like. We're not meant to feel calm and rested and perfectly aligned with our higher purpose 24/7. We're also meant to feel tired and anxious and jealous and lazy sometimes. That too is part of the human experience. And it doesn't make us morally deficient or broken when we do feel lazy or cranky, or when we don't apply ourselves to our to-do list with sparking enthusiasm. There's nothing wrong with you if on some days you find that it's really hard to say no to a drink. It's hard not because you're unmotivated or weak, but because you're doing something unfamiliar and expecting your brain to act differently than how it's used to acting. That's why when it comes to changing a habit, it can be helpful to think of yourself as being on a journey rather than thinking of the habit as something you can switch off in one go. You're on a path, and the path will have ups and downs. Some days will feel easier, some days will feel harder, and that's all completely normal. If you assume the identity of a person who is trying to change, then you don't think that something has gone wrong on a day when you feel a little bit off, or you have intense cravings, or you end up drinking even though you had the best of intentions not to drink. No, you know that it's normal to have highs and lows. And there's one other point I want to make. You can be genuinely motivated to change your relationship with alcohol and still really want to drink sometimes. Those two things can coexist. Wanting a drink doesn't mean your motivation is weak or that the change isn't important to you. It just means you have a brain and a nervous system that have, through repetition, learned that alcohol equals relief or comfort or a reward in certain moments. So if you're listening to this and thinking, but if I really wanted to drink less, I wouldn't feel tempted, I want you to hear this clearly. That's not how change works. Motivation is the reason you're doing the thing. Desire is just a feeling or a set of sensations that comes and goes. You don't have to completely eliminate desire in order to stay committed to your goal. So now that you understand what motivation really is, let's talk about what to do when your motivation starts to fade. I've got 3 tips for you. Number 1 is reconnect to your reason why you're doing the thing in the first place. If you decided to do dry January or to learn Spanish or cook a meal from scratch 4 times a week or become a massage therapist, remind yourself why you want that. What is waiting on the other side of all the effort you have to expend and all the time you have to spend to achieve your goal? What do you stand to gain? What would it allow you to do once you've done the work, made the change, gotten to the end of the challenge? When it's 6 o'clock in the evening and you're tired and about to start making dinner and your brain says, who cares about dry January? Just have the drink. You know it will make you feel better. Don't try to gaslight yourself into feeling good about choosing a cup of tea over a glass of Chardonnay. It's okay to acknowledge that you want the Chardonnay. But ask yourself, why is it important to you to change your relationship with alcohol? Why might it be worth it to acknowledge the desire for the drink and still choose not to give in to that desire? My tip number 2 is zoom in and focus on the immediate next step. So often we get overwhelmed thinking about the long-term goal. If you're doing dry January, you might be wondering, Can I do this for a whole month? But that question is not helpful at all. A much better question is, what is the next right choice I can make right now? When you zoom in on what's right in front of you, that's often a lot easier to wrap your brain around and to motivate yourself for than when you're thinking about how you're going to sustain enthusiasm for a whole month of trying something new. You don't have to solve for the whole dry January right now. You just have to figure out how to talk yourself through the next craving or to decide what you want to say at happy hour tonight when your work husband starts teasing you that you're boring when you don't drink. And finally, my tip number 3 is preparation beats motivation anytime. If you prepare yourself as much as possible for what's to come, then you don't have to rely on motivation in the moment because you already have a plan for exactly what to do. I talked about this on the last episode, how to do dry January. So many people don't do any planning and preparation at all, and they just hope for the best. But any amount of thinking you do ahead of time, like deciding what you're going to drink instead, deciding what to tell people who might push you to drink, deciding what you will do to relax if you normally drink to relax, lining up the support that you need, deciding how you want to talk to yourself as you build new skills. All of these will help you much more than bare motivation ever will. In our scenario from above, where you're standing in the kitchen craving the Chardonnay, imagine that you'd already decided that when you feel tempted to drink, you will pause and take 3 deep breaths, you will play your favorite song, and then you will pour yourself a kombucha in a fancy glass, and you will text your best friend so she can remind you that you're a badass who can absolutely do hard things. Things will go very differently if that plan is already in place and your friend knows what you need her to say and you have a few different kombuchas already chilling in the fridge. If you've prepared ahead of time, you don't need to rely on motivation, you just follow the plan. And the good news is, it's not too late to start now with any of these tips. It's never too late to make a different choice, no matter what happened yesterday, or this morning, or last month, or last year. At any moment, you can remind yourself of the reason why you want to change, and you can make a plan, and you can decide to try something different. And if you're looking for more high-touch support on your journey, I'm here to help. I have spots open right now for private coaching, and I would love to work with you and help you look beyond motivation to build the toolkit you need in order to make lasting change to your drinking habits and to feel good about that change too. The way I work with clients is that, first of all, I give them tools to manage cravings so that in the moment when they have the urge to drink, they know that they're not at the mercy of that urge and they know they don't have to battle with themselves. Instead, they have practical, science-backed tools they can use to calm down their nervous system and to feel in control again so that they can make a more intentional choice. And once you have these basic tools, so you know that you can handle a craving, we teach your brain new ways to respond to old triggers. So much of our daily behavior is just autopilot. We keep doing the things that we have done before without much conscious awareness at all. But with a little practice, we can build new skills and new routines and new patterns so that over time it becomes easier to choose the lemonade over the margarita without FOMO and without feeling deprived. And finally, in our work together, I will help you understand the larger role drinking has played in your life. Drinking is always a means to an end. It was providing a benefit and solving a problem before it became a problem in itself. Together, we will look at the role that alcohol has played, and we will see what else in your life might need some attention, so that even if you choose to keep drinking, alcohol never feels like a requirement that you're dependent upon and won't be okay without, but it feels like an intentional choice that you feel good about. I offer free consultations, and I would love to talk to you and see if we're a good fit to work together. You can book yours via the link in the show notes. I hope you all have a great week and stay warm, and I'll talk to you next week. If you're looking for practical advice for how to say no to alcohol and say yes to yourself, you will want to get on my email list. Sign up to receive my free guide with 7 steps to kickstart your sobriety. The link is in the show notes, so go and grab it now, and I'll see you soon in your inbox.